Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to another Arca Garage video. Today we're gonna be dealing with one of the very common issues on Alfa Romeo Giulietta, and that is the broken recirculation flap motor. The problem is not in the motor itself, but rather in the white piece of plastic which is attached to it. It breaks off and the recirculation flap is basically inoperational. So if you find a piece of plastic like this, usually it's white in color, in your driver's foot, well, this video is gonna help you solve the issue. One thing I gotta warn you about is that you gotta prepare a lot of patience, because you're gonna be doing some mechanic yoga since access to this part is non-existent. However, in the end, it will all be worth it, because a garage for this job would charge you for €100 or even more depending on where you live. Alright, let's get going. I'm gonna start by removing this piece of plastic right here, and for that I'm gonna use a rivet removal tool. I'm just gonna pull this plastic rivet out. Now I can just pull this piece off. Again, you don't want to use too much force. As you can see, there are plastic clips. There's one right there and one on the top, and you got two more metal ones on the inside. Moving on to the carpet, I'm gonna remove this plastic piece which is right on the left side of the clutch pedal. I'm gonna remove these two rivets on the top, and there is one more on the left side right there. Let's check out where recirculation flap motor is located. There it is, right there. Now, as I said before, the access to it is pretty much non-existent, but this job is still doable without the dash removal. The motor is supposed to operate this flap which goes up and down, and in return it allows the air from the outside to enter the cabin, or it recirculates the air inside the cabin. Here you can see when I activate the motor, it spins, and you can see even the white piece of plastic which has broken off and it's still stuck inside. First, I'm gonna undo the connector. You got this plastic clip on the side, so ideally you would want to push the connector in, press on the clip, and pull the connector out. Next, I'm gonna use my 6mm spanner to undo this first screw. I'm trying to get it as loose as I can, and then I'm just gonna try to undo it by hand. Alright, there it is. Now the access to the second screw is even worse, so I'm gonna push the motor out and I'm gonna push it down. That's gonna give me just enough access to the second screw. I hope that you can see it on the camera. It's right there. Unscrewing this one is gonna require a ton of patience, but if you push through it, you can get it undone. Again, I'm just trying to get it loose enough so I can possibly undo it by hand. Alright, there it is. That wasn't really too bad. However, it's gonna be even worse to install it, but I'm gonna show you a little trick for that. Here is the motor. You can see it got 3 holes, but it's actually held in place just by 2 screws. Here's what I'm talking about. Now on the left side, right under my thumb, is a spot for the connector. Above it there was that one screw which I removed first. Now on the right side, on the top, there are no screws, but there is one plastic pin, and on the bottom is that one screw which is actually the hardest to remove. On the other side of the motor you can see the gear and that white piece which has broken off. Next, I'm just gonna pull out this white piece. There it is. One of the reasons this white part fails is because this gear is hollow and it can't take much pressure. As a replacement, I got the same part 3D printed. It feels much better in quality, and you can see the gear on the back is not hollow. Essentially what I did, I've found 3D file for this part online that you can buy for €5. So that's exactly what I did. I bought the file and I've sent it to the guy which does 3D printing, and he printed it out for €5. If you want to do the same thing, I've put the link to the file in the description of the video. You gotta pay attention to this flat part. It is supposed to be in this position. Now if it's not, you can put the motor back inside the car, turn the ignition on and pull the connector out till this flat part gets in this spot. Now you gotta pay the attention to the same thing on the printed out part, and I'm just gonna press it in. Now I can tell that this is pretty sturdy, but if you are worried that it's gonna fall out or something, you can put a little bit of glue inside. Installing this flat motor is gonna be very hard. That's why I've decided to use this little trick. Essentially what I did, I've just tied a piece of a string to the end of the screw, and on the other side of the string I've got a little copper wire. Now I'm just gonna guide that wire through the opening for the screw, and I'm gonna pull it onto the string, which is gonna pull the screw as well as the motor back in its spot. Also, I gotta mention that this is not the proper position for the screw. The screw is supposed to be in the hole beneath, but this is just for demonstration so I can show you what I'm gonna do. Now the only good thing about this whole ordeal is that the hole for the screw is open from the both sides, so I'll be able to thread this wire through it to get everything back in its spot. Just to be clear, here the arrow on the right marks the entry point for the string. The arrow on the left is the exit point. As I said before, this screw mount is open on both sides, so you shouldn't have any issues pulling the thread through. Alright, I got the motor back in thanks to that string. There is no way that I would be able to get that screw in using my hands, and the flap is now working perfectly. You can see when I press the button it opens and it closes as it's supposed to. So essentially I pulled on the string until the screw got in its place. I twisted it a bit using my fingers, and I finished the job using the spanner. The job is finally done. As I said before, it did require a lot of patience. However, it is worth it, because if you took your car to a garage to get this fixed, they would charge you maybe like 3, 4, even 500 euros, primarily because they would take the dash apart. Anyway, that would be all for this video. I hope you find it useful. If you did, hit that like button and support our channel by subscribing.